going to let Tom Overbeek introduce Allan for us.
The biggest favor I can do is just kill him right here. Y'all would be pleased. No. I've known Allan for umpteen years, and you do not want to hear the dribble, believe me, of all that I could say, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have ridden motorcycles all over the world. We've photographed together, and he's gone all over the world. I've got to go over a little bit of the world. I don't know what you say about somebody to a group like this who's fixing to show you, and I haven't seen what he's going to show you. I've seen his work, but I don't know what the presentation is. But I will say this. Allan approaches everything in life with a real effort, a real passion, a determination to do it right, whether that's riding a motorcycle, doing photography, running his practice, driving me crazy, whatever. That flows over into his work in photography in a positive way, in that he doesn't accept sloppiness. He doesn't accept less than the best he can do. Now, I don't mean this negatively, but he's not a world-class photographer. He'll tell you that.
Yes.
Okay. He considers himself an average Joe. He's not an average Joe. No, not even that Joe. But he Joseph Sparks. But he is a good photographer. Works hard at it. The last thing I want to say is he has had the opportunity to go places that we all dream about. And that's really great for him. 99% of the people in this room, or maybe even 100%, can't do that, okay? But here's what I want to say about it. Even though he's going to show you things in, I assume, Africa, Antarctica, India, Southeast Alaska, and so forth and so on, I was in Newton County last weekend, and I was shooting the elk. And at one point I looked at it and I thought, how would Allan do this? And I think what we get to share with his ability to go a lot of places we'd all like to go is, let's take the attitude of doing it right and working hard and getting great images, even if it's the deer in your backyard.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. First off, I'd like to say Tom is my very, very dear friend. I appreciate that very, very much. Let me start by saying that Tom said it, and it's true. I've had the incredible good fortune to have traveled to some amazing places and seen wonderful, wonderful things in nature, which is what I really like in photography, and it's one of the things that I truly like in life. Photography, and I agree with Tom, I'm not a great technical photographer. I've been super places, and I like photography because I like to see things. I'm a very visual person. And when I see things that are amazing, like some of the things that we're going to see tonight, I like to share them with people who want to share them. And that gives me great pleasure to share images with people who enjoy seeing them. And not everybody does. And it's the same like with these calendars that we passed around. We have another good friend who is a fantastic photographer, and he says, I look at your calendar every day. I don't use it as a calendar. I just like looking at the pictures. And I like looking at images. I still print everything that I want to print. We have in our house probably more than 50 of those albums that range all the way back to when my son Daniel, was born. And Laura and I will sit at night and we'll put one of those albums, like from Turkey 12 years ago, on our lap and say, wow, remember when we were in Turkey? And she'll go, you were so thin. And you had hair and stuff. So with that, mostly what I do in photography is really travel logs. It's stories that I like to share with family and friends. When I go someplace, I probably have 150 people on an email list that I'll send a Flickr link to. And these are all people who like to look at images and see things. So this will be kind of a travel log. If you have a technical question, you can ask me. Mostly I'm not horribly technical, and I'm happy to answer anything. So I think we'll start in 2004. I went to the Antarctic. And it's an amazing, amazing place if you can get off a big Zodiac raft and walk through the water onto an island that has 400,000 penguins on it. So it's just awesome to see. And these are some of the images that came from that trip. And that's a rockhopper penguin. And another thing I'll mention while we're doing this is being able to do this. I and Tom also have had an opportunity to spend some time with some terrific photographers, National Geographic photographers, most of whom are so gracious in the way that they share their time and their expertise with people who are amateurs like I am and who are there. But you can walk right through the middle of penguins like that. And it's an amazing thing.
Now, where is this?
This is Antarctic, in the Antarctic. And we were in kayaks. They put us out in kayaks, and that's the ship that we were on. And it's
So how close is the glacier to the kayak, or to the ship there? Is that just a perspective trick, or is it?
no, it's that close. They just sail around those things because the whole place out there is full of stuff like that, and not all over the ocean, but things like that. And except when you're in some place like in Alaska, they're calving, then mostly you're pretty close. I mean, you look up at things like that. So you go on a thing like, we went ashore twice a day for, this was a 21 or 23 day trip, and we came back. I just actually looked at my photographs yesterday through the Drake Passage, which is notoriously the most dangerous piece of water in the world. This is in Botswana in 2008.
What do you remember what month that was?
That's a difficult question. Yeah, it's July. It's winter
July?
there.
Oh, okay.
It's winter there. And Botswana is phenomenally interesting, too, because Botswana is a swamp.
Yeah.
Because everything from the countries above washes down in there. But we were in Botswana and South Africa, so these pictures are kind of mixed in that. And people will ask, like, well, how close were you? Well, we were very close. I was as close to that line as I am to you. And it's amazing what they do. And there's a very interesting thing, you'll love this little fact, that the wild animals in South Africa see safari vehicles as square shapes with little bumps in them that goes, and it's fine unless one of those little square shapes stands up. And then they're in fight or flight. They're either going to jump in there and eat you, or they're going to run away, depending on where they are. This is amazing. And I'll tattle on this. This is a lovely image that my wife took with her little Minolta point and shoot. And I think that makes a very interesting point that Tom was making about going up here to Boxley and Ponca and stuff. And people see things that come from their heart, and they make great photographs. I mean, it's not a commercial photograph, but it's a super photograph. And this was really good. We came up to this young leopard in a tree, and we're sitting there photographing it, and another safari vehicle came down the road with about 8 or 9 people in it, kids, And as soon as they got there, they all stood up, and this guy just jumped out of the tree and went off, and that was the end of it. So just got blown away.
Was that a kitten?
Huh?
Was that a kitten, or is it just perspective making it look smaller?
Oh, it's small. It's
cub.
it's a young, yeah, it's a young leopard. It's a baby leopard.
How warm or hot was it?
How what?
How hot was it in wintertime?
It was not hot. It was cold. It was very cold, very, very cold in the morning and at night. And when you go out before daylight. You come back about 10 o'clock for breakfast, and then the middle of the day, they usually don't do anything. And then you go out at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and you stay out until way after dark. And this image just amazes me to show what life for the animals is like there.
So that showed several escapes, I would assume.
Yes, isn't that amazing that that thing's still walking around?
And no surgeon fixed him up.
And no surgeon fixed him up. It healed itself. And there's a little story about this, and I apologize for the yellow eyes, but I couldn't help myself. I came back, and I had a bunch of images that were totally black. And I'm going like, what did I do? I mean, couldn't remember by the time I came back, and I was looking at them. What did I do? And I started throwing them away, deleting them. And then I thought, I need to go in there and just lighten this thing up as much as I had. And as soon as I started doing it, this leopard came up. And what had happened was we went out at night, and they were using infrared spotlight to try to find some cats. And I had accidentally left my camera on ISO 100. So they were black. There was nothing in them until I brought them up, and it turned out to be something that I was really fond of. And in this kind of thing, you sit, and your guide will say to you, "It's right there," and you look, and all you see is bushes. You go like, "Where?" And you can sit there for 5 minutes until you see that animal behind there. It's another one of my favorite ones. This was in Galapagos. It is aptly named a blue-footed booby. And I want to take a moment to thank Daniel and my wife, who left everything on the cutting room floor, because when I started getting ready for this, I had 435 images.
We will walk out before this.
Yeah. And there's about 50 now. This is a red-footed booby. And this, okay, just to make another point, this is in East Africa in 1998. We were in Kenya when they bombed the embassy, in Nairobi, when they bombed the embassy. And this was film that I had a friend of mine to scan, and it's not professionally scanned, but it tells you that if you had a drawer full of stuff or albums full of stuff, and you enjoy having your things on your computer, as I do, to be able to go to revisit them, then having them scanned is phenomenal. This was also in '98, and it was film. This is just something that I like that I took off the coast of Northern California. And that's Sedona, Arizona. Okay. For Tom, and Tom made this point, this is true. A lot of those trips were really expensive trips. And my mom and dad told us that we should start to travel as soon as we were able. And my wife Laura and I have traveled a lot and really enjoyed it. And this image cost $11 because Daniel and I and my granddaughter, who was 6 at the time last year, did a pontoon boat trip on Lake Maumelle, 15 minutes from our house in Little Rock.